Well, welcome into the Toby Foreman Show. Undefeated Shoemaker Grey Wolves coming into tonight's game, and it's another tough one, buddy. Oh, man, got to go over to Temple and take on them Wildcats at Wildcat Stadium. But before we get into this, as we always do, let's go all the way back to last week and that game at Waco University. Road test for you. Again, you came out good, but University, they got some talent. I watched that one on TV. Their quarterback and their wide receiver, phenomenal.
Yeah, they may have broken a record on us. I mean, it was a great night for both those guys, and kudos to number one, that receiver over there. It's just outstanding. He reminds me a lot of Micah Hudson, but man, the improvement from in our game from last year to this year with that wideout is just unbelievable. Smith, I believe is his last name, and I mean he really put on a show, and it wasn't that we weren't trying to stop him, we just couldn't at some point in that game. They just kept going to him, and he made a couple plays where he just went up over a couple people and got it. And so that's the thing, I knew going into that game they were going to make us better, and I believe we made them better too, and that's a big deal when you're right before district play.
Yeah, those two kids I think are going to Baylor, they said. So Dave Aranda's going to get a couple of good guys, hometown boys for sure. But your guys played great. I mean, just watching them and putting the points up, drives, put the nice drives together, some big plays out there too, and just look good all over the field. And late in the game, able to get some kids in there also. So that was nice. Yeah,
third quarter is kind of when we separated. But, we didn't really panic. I mean, it really helped us being in the close game against Ellison late, kind of helped us kind of find our way through a close one, because those first two games were just kind of blowouts. And then we were really blowing out Ellison, and then we weren't, and so kind of everybody had to refocus and lock in and finish that game out. But this one was different. They got on us early. We were tied at halftime, 3 possessions for each team. In the first half, and I told somebody this the other day, we had a 16-play drive in the first quarter that went into the second quarter, and then they followed it up with a 15-play drive. So, 1 minute, it seemed like we were standing on the sideline about 30 minutes, and but 14-14 at halftime, we scored right before the half, with about 25 seconds left, and that was the second week in a row we've done that. And so, right now we're 100% red zone scoring. That's a huge stat through 4 games. Not really turning the ball over, and that's what allowed us to, kind of win these games that are like that. Now in the third quarter, we did pull away, but it was a tough one early on, but we need that. This one is going to be tough throughout. I mean, us and Temple are very evenly matched. I think we're going to be going to a hostile environment. They've got their band that's behind us, and we practice with loud music all week, and they got lights that flash, almost like a concert, you know what I'm saying? So what we got to do is try not to have them lights flashing all night, but it's a great environment over there at Bob McQueen Field, Wildcat Stadium. It's a place I enjoy going to watch games, and I enjoy going to compete. It reminds me kind of back home, and that type of atmosphere. We respect Temple. They're a top 10 program in the state of Texas, and they have been for a very long time. And if we want to move on as a program, we've got to win games like this. We've got to get over this hump. I feel like we've kind of gotten over the local hump, but we've got to get past the Temples and the peoples of that stature if we want to progress and be respected around the state as a successful football program.
They're not just a couple of studs; they have several studs. I've also seen them on a broadcast, and huge offensive and defensive line, fast DBs, quick linebackers. The running backs are shifty, and they got a good quarterback. Even though their starting quarterback's hurt, number 2's come in and actually put up some phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, so when you talk Temple football in 2025, the first 2 names that come to mind is Jamarion Carlton and Raymond Brown. And those are the obvious guys that stand out. But there's a couple guys that maybe you don't know about that I'm going to kind of highlight. Kavili Bivens, he leads our district in rushing, I believe. Outstanding running back. If you don't tackle him, he's going to go. That's on the offense side of the ball, as well as number 7, Preston Thomas. He plays opposite of Raymond Brown a lot of times. He's an outside receiver opposite Raymond, and I mean he just comes up with big play, after big play after big play. I'm a huge fan of Champ Mayo. I don't think he'll be playing in this one, but his backup, Colin Basinger, I mean, that guy has done an outstanding job. He came into a really tough situation after the first or second drive of the Round Rock game, and man, he really hasn't missed a beat. I mean, it's impressive. The head coach over there, President, has done a really, really good job developing those quarterbacks and done a really good job of developing and preparing the backup quarterback. The O-line, like I said, there's a whole lot of size on the O-line, especially in the interior. The center and the two guards are really, really big, and if you don't get hands on them, they can move you backwards in a hurry. They also have a couple other receivers. Rodney Nelson, it makes a lot of plays. And then Stephen Midturi, I hope I pronounced that correctly, but he's another good wideout. You flip over the defense side of the ball, and of course everybody talks about Jamarion Carlton, but number 8, Micah Bolton, is a guy. He's disruptive. He's a Mike backer. He sits in there in the middle, makes a lot of plays. I don't think he gets near enough credit. Jason Bradford, defensive back. They moved him all over the last 2 years in the secondary, but they have him mostly playing as safety. He makes a lot of tackles. Outside linebacker, number 0, Isaiah Ellis. Number 22, Barry Brand. He's very disruptive. Braylon Carr, a young man that actually went to one of our middle schools and now goes to Temple. He, in my opinion, is one of the better cover corners in the district. And then you have number 21, Jeremiah Blunson. You got another DB, Jerron Daly. I mean, they rotate. You have number 10, Xavier Latouche. They rotate a lot of DBs over there, and those guys, do a really, really good job, as well as 2-year starter, number 55, Javier Ajard. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And then their big nose guard, number 98, Roderick Harris. I mean, there's a lot of guys over there that make a lot of plays, and it's not just Jamarion Carlton and Raymond Brown. So like I said, this will be an outstanding game because you'll have a field just like our last two opponents. It'll be a field full of talent. There'll be a lot of motivation. Everybody talks about our records, but the record right now and everybody in 12-6A is 0-0. So really, the preseason is exactly what it is. It's preseason. It's a warm up for district. Hopefully, teams are healthy at this point in time. We are pretty healthy, and so it just comes down to execution, turnovers, and I do think special teams is going to play a big part in this game. And like I said, we look forward to the matchup because we know, just like the non-district games, this game is going to make us better for the rest of the season.
Yeah, season number 1, 5-0, check mark. 4-0, check mark. Then we go into season 2 starting tonight. So I'm looking for a great game. I think it's going to be televised once again. So I'll get a chance to watch that for the press box over at Leo Buckley while I'm watching that ball game, but keeping people up to date with scores throughout the night. But oh gosh, I wanted to go to Temple really bad, but it was just too much and too many bridges to cross to get there to broadcast that one. So once I realized it was going to be on television, I said, well, I could always just sit at home, do play-by-play while I'm watching it on TV. But I know you're going to come away with the victory over there because your boys are tough. We got more talent. We got more speed. And I'm just a shoemaker freak, baby.
Well, we're excited about it. Like I said, we've had a good week of practice, and we are fairly healthy. And we got to strike early. We can't get behind in this one. We've really not trailed during this. I mean, I'm trying to think. We hadn't trailed much at all during the season. I can't remember. Maybe we were behind the other day. We were behind in the second quarter the other day. But
just a minute and a half.
Well, it was a little longer than that. But we hadn't trailed much on the season. But you're going on the road, hostile environment. You want to make sure that you're keeping up and then keep it close or pull away early. But you want to make sure that going into the late third and fourth quarter that you're in the ball game, because we do feel like condition-wise we're in good place, and we feel like that we close out games better than we have any time in the past with this group of kids.
All right, I was born and raised in Killeen, Texas, and it's in my blood. Coach, go beat Temple.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the support. Make sure you come out tonight, get there early because it's going to be packed, 7 o'clock kickoff, and as always, go Grey Wolves.
This has been an I-14 Sports Network production, bringing the heat from the heart of Central Texas.